Welcome, 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 everybody, to this week's podcast. And I have my most delicious friend, who I haven't actually spoke to for ages, Naomi Stonier, joining me. She is a relationship coach, and the fact that we haven't actually spoke for quite a while now, and when we do speak, it usually goes. We are going to try, aren't we, Naomi, to keep our conversation relevant to coaching. But as is always the case, I don't have any plans, so we're just going to be guided by our passion. But do you want to start by telling everybody, tell us all about yourself and what you do?
Well, I think telling you my story is the best way to go. That,
Brilliant.
makes the most sense for everybody. I mean, first of all, my name's Naomi Stonier. I run Naomi Stonier Coaching. I am a romantic relationship coach for individuals and couples.
Mhm.
And the reason I do this work, the reason I am so passionate about this work is because it's my journey. I have gone from dysfunctional relationships from childhood, which I took into adulthood, that were repeating in my adult world. And I was really struggling. I wasn't just struggling in family life, I was struggling in my work. Work was really difficult. Friendships weren't great. And I lived on the emotional roller coaster, and life was really difficult. And I hit a crunch point when I experienced infertility. And I was desperate to have a big family because I thought that was going to give me all the love I needed. I was always going to be needed. I felt very fearful of ending up alone. And I thought the solution was a big family. But that didn't happen. We were lucky enough to have one beautiful daughter. But no matter how many times I tried, and I tried 9 times, 9 rounds of IVF to have another daughter, we didn't get to have another one. And that was the moment when I had to just stop and think, what's going on here? Life shouldn't be this difficult. And that was the moment I found relationship coaching. And I initially did the work as an individual. I just knew I had stuff I needed to work on. I got coached. It completely changed everything for me. And the most amazing thing about it is the effect it had on everybody else, even though I was the only one to get coached. And I ended up setting up my own business. And now I work with couples too. Me and my husband have done couples coaching too. And yeah, that's what I do. That's it. That's the
Amazing.
story.
So good. So tell me a little bit more detail about what you mean by the emotional roller coaster.
Well, I thought life felt like it was happening to me. Life was coming at me. All these things were happening to me. And the beautiful thing, I'd done lots of therapy, and I love therapy. Therapy kept me going through in university. I turned to it, and also through my infertility journey. It was, that kept me functioning. But I got to a stage where I didn't want to just cope. I wanted more. And it kept me functioning, but how do I change? How do I be different? And life coaching, relationship coaching, taught me how I was creating my experience.
Mm.
And that was the moment when life felt out of control. And that was
Mm.
the moment when I got back in control. Because instead of this all happening to me, instead of my boss coming at me, the weather, the traffic, what my husband did or said, it was the
Mm.
moment where I got back in control of my life. Because it's like, you create your experience, you choose the meaning every moment, moment to moment. And it was a huge revelation. And I got back in control of life. Because
Mm.
before it was this roller coaster of, all of this stuff was coming at me. And I had I controlled everything to try not to do everything, but was controlling all the wrong things.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So what were you trying to control when you say the wrong things?
So so for instance, I would plaster, but to hide the anxiety, the level of anxiety I was in,
Yeah.
I would plaster myself in makeup, and I would wear turtleneck so you couldn't see. I would flush, like I'd be having panic attacks, and I had to wear this mask So you couldn't see how traumatized I was. So that was an example of something that I did. Um, I would, control what I ate. I would. I would be trying to, in the workplace, I would be trying to control myself all the time in the workplace. So yeah, it was that sort of thing.
Which just must be exhausting.
It was absolutely exhausting. I had some other great examples and they've just gone out of my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was over functioning. If I got everything on the to-do list done, if the house was super clean, and this is what I grew up with. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Which is really funny because in the time I've known you, and how long have we known each other now? I don't know, for like 4 years. Is it 4 years when we
no,
first
longer
met
than
in
that.
Time Hackers? I can't remember.
Yeah,
And
maybe. Yeah, maybe 4 or 5 years.
yeah, and when you said I would be plastered in makeup, I can't even imagine that version of you because I've never met her.
Yeah,
So
that's
tell
it.
me a bit about what you're like now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like the most obvious way I was trying to control life, this is what I blanked on, was trying to have lots of kids.
Yeah.
But if I could, it was like trying so hard, my fertility, it was like trying so hard to control that. Like if I have all these children, then I'll be okay. So it's just
Mm.
like, but my body, trying to, and that's why I had all these rounds of IVF, because it's like, and that was a form of control. Like I must have this. I'll be okay when I have this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So compared to what you're like now, tell us about what you're like now.
So now it's the ability to be aware, one, of how you're creating your emotions, and to no longer be in your emotions. So
Mm.
no longer living at the mercy of them. So now it's the ability to experience a very uncomfortable emotion, um, and be okay with that, like physically be able to cope with strong emotion. Another way was a absolute terror of public speaking. So I avoided all of that.
Yeah.
And so now it's just that ability to feel embarrassed, to feel scared, to feel hurt, to feel angry, and to be watching and in awareness of those sensations instead of in them and at the mercy of them and believing it's your fault that I'm feeling like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
That is.
you obviously go to controlling other people, don't you? I was trying to control my daughter and my husband. I was very controlling over what everyone ate. I wanted us all to be very healthy,
Mm.
all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So now it's just that stepping back and watching what's going on and not immediately reacting to it. So emotional pauses,
Yeah.
emotional resilience. It's a skill that no one teaches us, and you can learn it.
I
You
I
can
know,
learn it.
I know. And this is what I wish I could shake everybody and go, you have a fucking choice with so much love. I love what you said earlier. You choose the meaning to any given situation. And no one tells us that. No
No.
one actually says your brain's going to give you a whole load of thoughts. You're going to think those thoughts are true, but mostly they're not. They're just absolute bullshit with so much kindness.
But not only that, you not only the thing is we somehow are led to believe that we should know. We somehow
Yeah,
think we should just know how to
yeah,
do all of this when there
yeah.
is no manual, there is no class at school. So
No,
not only we're banging the drum, you and I, to tell people, hey, you can learn this stuff here, do you want to come and learn it? So we're
yeah,
doing that, but we've also got to get past the fact that people think they should just know, like
yeah,
shame that is every day in all of my sessions is this deep shame that what's wrong with me? I
yes,
should know. And then also, what's wrong with you? You should
yeah,
know.
yeah,
This is what you do to your partner. You should
yeah,
know this. There's something wrong with you.
yeah. Isn't it fascinating how, 'cause I hear the same. Most people that, well, I say most, every single person that comes and speaks to me thinks that their brain is the only one that's negative and that there must be something wrong with them. They're the overthinker.
Yeah.
And yet we're all thinking the same things. We all think we're an overthinker. We all think there's something wrong with us.
Yeah.
And you're like, if only everybody could hear that everybody was saying the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it's, a lot of my couples work is about understanding that experiences that you had when you were younger are that kid, you know it, our society is individual empowerment. We're not taught relational empowerment.
Mm.
And for a lot of people, parenting, parents in that moment when that little kid was dealing with a situation and there wasn't an adult there to guide you, because frankly, even if there was, no one's taught them these skills and they're not guiding. That little kid in the moment just did the best it could. And then that little kid, and then we keep that way of doing it into adulthood. So, you've got big T trauma and little T trauma. So if you weren't beaten and locked in a cupboard, you say, oh, there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah,
Afraid, if your mum was out working till 9 p.m. every night, they weren't around to parent and you were just doing the best you could, and you've taken those skills into adulthood. Or if your parents might not have been beating each other up, if they were giving each other the silent treatment and screaming and shouting at each other,
yeah,
that's created unhealthy habits for you that you
yeah,
now need to address. So
yeah.
there's that as well.
Well, and also it's interesting, isn't it? Because as you were talking then, I was just thinking about my upbringing, and on paper, my upbringing would have been idyllic. Um, and I didn't expect it. I didn't experience any what you just said, big T trauma. So I wasn't beaten. I wasn't locked in a cupboard. I wasn't starved or anything like that. But my mum was. She didn't have the emotional resilience to deal with her emotions. So she was, I now see looking back, distant emotionally.
That's it.
And I didn't know that as a child. I wouldn't have, but looking back, I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense now that I have a bit of a victim neediness because that's how I got her attention. Because if I didn't do that, she didn't know how to deal with her emotions. She didn't have the skills because we don't get taught it. And so she was only doing the best that she could do, and my dad the same. He wasn't given the skills, so he didn't know how to, and we don't think about stopping those cycles.
That's it. So do you see that kid had to parent itself in the moment
Yeah,
when mum was emotionally absent?
yeah,
So that the kid, clever little kid, devised this strategy of this is how I get what I need.
yeah,
And it's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Well done to that little kid. Got what it
yeah,
needed, but becomes maladaptive in adulthood, and then starts to become unhelpful in your relationship.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's simple work to see it and then adjust it. But
yeah.
we never do the work.
No, no, because we
That's the
think it's
problem.
yeah, we think it's easier for our husband to change, or it's easier for
Yeah.
our kid to change. Wouldn't
Or
it be so? Wouldn't it be better if the weather just changed? Well,
yeah.
yes, if that was how
We don't
the world works.
understand that's not the issue. We don't
Yes.
understand that's not the issue. I mean, I hear this is a phrase I hear quite a lot. It was just a standard 70s childhood. That's what I hear people say. And I have to say,
Mm,
no, it's sort of absent, it's neglect. Far more children are taken from their homes because of neglect than
mm,
they are from abuse.
yeah,
Neglect is a form of abuse. If you had an emotionally absent parent, either they were there, or maybe they physically weren't there because they were working all the time, or maybe there was
yeah,
three or four of you and you
yeah,
didn't get the attention. And this is not sort of helicopter parenting. It's just the facts. If you don't like, because people will say, "Oh my God, it's mollycoddling," and we're all dismissing ourselves when we say that. But what I say to people is, do you like your results?
yes,
Do you
yeah,
like your results right now? No. Well, here's this will help.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, exactly. Because you can't,
If
and
you're really
yes,
happy, fine, don't do the work. But if you're unhappy,
yes.
an answer.
And then sometimes people go, well, why should I do the work when it's him that's the problem? And you're like, or her that's the problem,
Yeah,
or that my boss that's the problem,
yeah,
or the well. And you're like, but that isn't ever the problem. That
Well, it can be. It can be. I mean, what I do with people when I work with individuals, if for whatever reason we can't get the couple in, as I say, you know, give this a go, play full out for 6 months, and let's see if it shifts it. If they people mirror us. So if
Mm,
you make these changes, you show up giving what it is you want to receive, it may well be mirrored back to you. And often it is, but if it isn't, then that's valuable information.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've
because
got a
then you have
true
a
picture.
choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have a true picture of the relationship, and then often people come together. But if they don't, I always say, go first, go
Yeah.
first, give what it is you want to receive, and then let's get them into the session. I mean, ideally, you want to work together. You want
Yeah.
to do this work together.
Yeah. And I do think, fortunately, Johnny, so my husband and I have done the work together. Like we're both life coaches. You're both coaches, aren't you?
No, we're not. My husband didn't do the work. He's not ever going to get coached. My husband, he didn't do the
Oh, really? I thought he was a coach though.
he works in training, corporate training.
Oh,
He's in
okay.
that self-development world. He's in that development, working on yourself well. But yeah, he's never going to have a coach. And and
Interesting.
that it was an amazing journey because we've both done a completely different route, but we've ended up in the same place. So
Yes.
I went first, I did the work. I was the one who needed to do the work. I had the big stuff. And I did that work, and he mirrored me. I liken it to you're in a tunnel, and we're trying to get out of the tunnel. It's pitch black. It's like, oh my God, how do we get out of this tunnel? And I got a flashlight when I started working with a coach. And I said, hey, I've got a flashlight. Look, I can see the exit. Come on, come on. And I take him by the hand and I was leading with the flashlight.
Mm.
Yeah. And then he did mirror me. And then we got to a point where we just started doing the work together.
Yeah.
And it's about we got to stop calling each other out and start
Mm.
calling each other in. I
Oh,
invited him to join me here
yes.
with love, with kindness. Love
Yes.
you, will you come with me? Yeah.
I love that because I think a lot of us try to, I don't use the word mirroring as much. I would say influence. Like you have an influence based on how you're
Yeah.
thinking
At
and
best, you
feeling.
have
You
influence.
can influence somebody. You don't get to change them or control them, but you can influence them. But when that influence is underpinned with love, that is so powerful. When it's underpinned with judgment, it's just going to feel shit. And I think most people are in the judgment camp.
Well, we're waiting. I'm waiting for you to change. I
Yeah.
stopped waiting and I just started
Yes.
changing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was lovely. I mean, you go through various stages. First of all, the killer, they don't even notice. That's the killer one. So the next stage is they start taking the piss out of you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my husband,
Yeah.
I joined a cult. Third stage is, often they can up the ante. People can get even more volatile. They can get more, but go bigger. But yeah, and when you just stay the course because you're doing it because you feel so much better.
Mm.
But yeah, or but many people want to work together. You know,
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
lie,
that's
many want
really
the
interesting because
couples.
I work with individuals,
Mhm.
but I have coached the husband and wife, but as individuals, never
Okay,
together. So
at the
how does
same time. Do you do
I've
it at the
coached
same time?
I've never coached them at the same time. So I've had one session with one and then one session with another.
But
Um,
were you their coach at the same time?
yes, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would find that very tricky.
yeah. Well, I think that's when our skill, our professional skill is being able to take that step back and knowing that everybody's thoughts are neutral and it's not actually the circumstance that they think it is. Um, so I think that's when our sort of professionalism steps up. But I do know a couple of people that I work with have said, "Oh, I would love my husband to come and speak to you. He would really benefit, but he can't make that step because he thinks you're my coach, so I'm going to influence the conversation." And I'm like, well, isn't that fascinating? Because if you went to you probably got the same GPs as a family, but you don't go, oh, I'm not going to go and talk to that GP because my wife spoke to her last week. Or, the GPs are professional, aren't they? Doctors are professional, as are we
Mm.
in that coaching relationship. So I always find that really fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah.
It's funny. So you said earlier you choose the meaning.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, on the simplest example I can give you is someone tells a joke, you laugh and I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, it's that simple, isn't it? We choose the meaning. On a bigger scale, two women lose their child to a drunk driver. One sets up a charity and campaigns against drink driving for the rest of her life. The other one, uh, in her grief, becomes addicted to tranquilizers and never recovers. And it's
yeah,
just a choice. It's
yeah,
and so it's an interesting one, that one, because people think, oh, so that means I've just got to put up with any behavior because it's a choice of how to, so
yeah,
you could be really nasty to me and I'll just choose not to be offended. I see it as actually completely the opposite, that makes it easiest to say no, it makes easier to put in boundaries and that sort of thing, because if it's a choice how you feel, then it's a choice to say the difficult thing.
yes, yeah,
Because I can't say that because you're going to freak out. Yeah. And what you're saying is it's because of you I can't say anything. So if believing I create my experience in in reality makes you more able to stand up for yourself, speak your mind even when it's difficult, put in a boundary. It's not
yeah,
just about, yeah, oh yeah, I'm the Dalai Lama, I'll never be bothered by anything.
yeah,
It's actually, you can challenge a lot more. Healthy self-esteem. We confuse confidence with healthy self-esteem. Healthy self-esteem is, sorry, I don't want to be treated like this. I'm not going to be
yeah,
like this. Thank you. Goodbye.
yeah,
Gonna,
yeah. It's I'm so pleased you said that because I think when a lot of people hear they've got a choice and it's their thoughts that are creating their meaning, um, they then think that they're just always going to feel happy, joyous, and
yeah,
positive, and that is so beyond the reality actually because going back to losing a child, that is not appropriate. Well, any relationship actually, it's not appropriate to feel happy, joyous, and positive. You'd be an absolute fucking psycho, wouldn't you, if you didn't have an emotion about that? If you lose a parent or a pet, a beloved pet, it's not appropriate to feel positive and joyous.
yeah. That what I always explain is this is not about feeling good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I constantly coach my clients in sessions. The bar for success is not whether you feel good. The
Yes.
bar
Yeah.
for success is you may be having a really awful time, and do you like the way you're handling it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're
Yeah.
probably having a really horrible time right now, but are you happy with the way you are handling this?
Yes.
You're not freaking out, screaming at people, beating people up, drinking, smoking, spending. Like you feel awful and you're just in that and you're coping with it and you're just choosing to believe that this will pass, you will figure it out, diddly doo da.
Yeah.
Choice, that's the choice you've made, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
always say we've got two options, suffer or learn.
Yeah.
You can suffer in this, you're going to be in this anyway, or you
Yeah.
can choose to think, right, I'm going to rinse the learnings out of this. I mean, you and I have been in countless moments, haven't we? I mean, I'm always, whenever I hit a tough time, thinking, God, I'm going to be able to help my clients with all of this.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. And Johnny and I are going through that right now. We were talking about this just before we came onto the podcast. Like, those of you that follow me on social media, you will know that Johnny's handed in, like, he's left his what is perceived to be a secure employed job for the life of self-employment, and it's fucking scary.
And I just loved
Scary.
your post on that so much. Like it was the whoop whoop, Johnny's left his job post, and I'm fucking terrified.
Yeah.
And this is what we do. We have the courage.
Yeah.
We go first, don't we? And it's very self-affirming that you're talking openly about how scared you are.
Yeah, yeah. And anxiety and self-doubt and everything that most people then, and I was one of these, I'm like, well, if I feel self-doubt, something must have gone wrong. If I feel anxious, something must have gone wrong. Having the skills to know that nothing has gone wrong, I think is the most freeing
Yeah,
choice ever.
yeah,
Ever.
yeah. It's like, of course you feel like this.
Yeah.
And one is this is physical sensations in our bodies. Yes, your brain is telling you you might die if Johnny leaves the police. But this is just, one, your brain is saying this to forecast danger. Two, you have the physical sensations of real danger,
Yeah.
being able to separate them out from, you know, what you want. Are you willing
Yeah.
to tolerate these feelings to get where you want to go? I mean, how
Yeah.
many times have you and I both heard that?
Yeah. And I love the choose your discomfort. Do you want the discomfort of staying the same, shouting, being snappy, beating yourself up, drinking too much, eating too much, whatever, spending too much, whatever it is? Do you want that? Because that's going to be uncomfortable. Do you want that discomfort? Or do you want the discomfort of learning how to make those choices, how to create the meaning, take the lessons? That's going to be uncomfortable, but that discomfort is going to get you the results and the life you want.
Percent quality versus safe. Safe, you stay
Yeah,
stuck in. Quality, you enter in one place, it's uncomfortable as hell, but you come out in a different and better place.
yeah,
I mean, in terms of relationships, miserable, comfortable.
yeah,
But that applies to any area, but especially in relationships, we stay in stable ambiguity. So a very common issue that comes onto my coaching is, I don't know if I want to be in this relationship. I don't
yeah,
know if this is worth fighting for. So you're very, very unhappy, but you don't leave and you don't work on it.
yeah,
The
yeah,
stable ambiguity, and we stay in that place. It's also the same when people spend a lot of time in the past. They're stuck in, they had a very difficult past and they're stuck in it. That's actually the safest place to be, because you can't change the past.
yeah,
It's harder to be in the present, which you can change. So you stay. I had this awful past. Life is very hard for me because I had this past. You're stuck there. You can't move on from it. It's the safest place to be
yeah.
because you
And
can't
then,
change it.
yeah, exactly. And that part of your brain is like, well, we're not dead, so that must be fine. We know that it's familiar. Whilst it's really uncomfortable, it's
Miserable,
familiar.
comfortable.
Whereas change, we don't know. We don't know the outcome there. And that part of our brain is never really going to be on board with that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, Naomi, is there like one thing that constantly comes up with the people that you work with?
Well, the key thing that comes up is, what a key issue is managing stress and pressure, daily day to day stress and pressure, and separating that out from your relationship.
Mm.
Because when you're under a lot of pressure, so I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and they're in the squeeze middle. It's either young kids or aging parents, plus a business, plus are going a million miles an hour. And it's separating out that from the relationship, because that stress then gets dumped on the relationship and it becomes about the relationship. And I'm always asking people, do you want to check this is really about your relationship? Should we try and separate this all out? So there's that, but then there's also, because I work so much with business owners, the superpower of the business owner, the get stuff done person, they go a million, super resourceful, super resilient, but often learn in childhood, often learn in tricky childhoods, or
Yeah.
it was seen as a virtue. Yeah,
Mm.
this is a that you can go, go, go. You don't rely on anyone, and that's
Yeah.
a barrier to intimacy.
Yeah.
So it's just the level of stress you're under, the fact that you're rewarded for this. Society rewards us. It's a business hierarchy, or it's protective.
Yeah.
Tricky childhood, that shows up the most. That's
Mm.
a barrier to intimacy. And then the other one I get that's most common is my logical people. It's great in business, super logical, able to put emotion aside and think logically. Terrible in your relationship.
Yes.
They're messy, they don't make sense, and you need to just lean in to all the discomfort and be there.
Yeah. It's so interesting, isn't it? What makes us successful in one area or perceived success in one area really limit us in another.
Yeah. Well, and the relationship's the scariest place. So that's the most common issue I see, I gave you about five answers there. The most common issue I have is how scared people are of their romantic relationship.
Yeah. And what do you mean by that?
I mean that it's the most challenging place, it's the scariest place. So you can be very successful, but your romantic relationship knocks you on your ass because it's the most challenging place. It's the place that most closely resembles the parent-child relationship, because a parent-child relationship is one where you have to rely on someone.
Mm.
And that, is very challenging if they did not show up. As I don't think most people didn't get what they needed. And that all comes up in your romantic relationship. So you
Yeah.
might be a brilliant parent, you might be very successful, but it's just not working in your romantic relationship and you don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
And that's just so difficult for people. So the fear, the challenge, it's so scary. It's yeah.
And
People,
what do you think they're actually scared of?
we are always seeking love. Our greatest fear is I'm not enough and I won't get love.
Mm.
So we're seeking so much certainty from each other.
Yeah.
And there is this fear that you won't be there for me. We're constantly checking, can I rely on you? Will you be there for me? And a high quality romantic relationship requires vulnerability
Yes.
and it requires honesty
Mm.
and it's dangerous.
Mm.
A real, alive romantic relationship is dangerous. You're constantly challenging each other and you're honestly speaking. I mean, I'm pretty sure, Nikki, you will have been there. I am not happy with this. I
Mm.
don't like this. I need this to change. And being calmly and kindly saying that to someone is the scariest thing you can do
Yeah.
because there's nowhere to hide. This is where the real conversation is going to happen. So that's why we're either stuck in the deep freeze, we're
Yeah.
deflecting and avoiding, or we're screaming and shouting because
Yeah.
there's safety in screaming and shouting because nothing gets solved. It's
Yeah.
just, oh, they're overreacting. Oh, it was heat of the moment. In patriarchy, in a traditional heterosexual relationship, men are very used to battening down the hatches and just waiting for the storm to pass and then just carrying right on as they normally do. A calm woman saying, hey, this isn't okay for me. I'm going to need more here.
Yeah.
Then we have to deal with it. And that's very scary for both parties.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actual, because the greatest fear is it might be over.
Mm. Yeah.
Safer
And
not to look, safer to just leave it as it is, safer to say you're accepting, really you're settling.
yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I think as well, Disney is a lot to blame for this. Like Disney,
Cinderella complex.
it's that, the woman is stuck in the tower. She needs rescuing, so she's the victim. And then the knight in shining armor comes, the man on the horse comes to rescue her. Well, what if that man is petrified?
So what you are
Be-
talking about there is the patriarchy.
yeah.
And the biggest myth of patriarchy is that men are women, that men are the winners and women
Yes.
are the losers. That's the biggest myth of patriarchy. The truth is we are all losers in this system
Yeah. Because
because
it's just so toxic for men to have to
well,
be the hero the whole
It
time. And
it's
then,
the well, it's the masculine ideal. We talk about the feminine ideal all the time about what
yeah.
women have to measure up to. What do men have to measure up to? They
Yeah.
have to be strong, silent, unflappable heroes, and they cannot get there. And not only that, but um, are be the ability to connect, articulate how you're feeling, be vulnerable and honest when you struggle. That is trained out of men.
Yeah.
We,
Yeah.
we we are asking, in the last 50 years, women have been rightly asking for more, but they've been asking for more in heterosexual relationships. Gay couples don't quite have this issue, they have other issues. We're asking for more from men who've had it trained out of them.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
and so, the abuse of the patriarchy is traumatic and abusive to men as well as
Yeah.
women. And so
Yeah.
we need to move beyond. We've got two options in patriarchy. We can be strong and in control, the man, or we can be weak and helpless, the woman. And so the feminine. So many women reject that and they become the man. We think we're
Yeah.
being strong and strong women. Really, we've just occupied the male, the masculine position of patriarchy. So we must move beyond patriarchy.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, and we're evolving into deep thinking, honest, open humans.
Yeah. With all the emotions.
Yeah, and we will do that dance of masculine and feminine, but without these myths
Yeah.
society has given us.
Yeah. So fascinating, isn't it? So I'm just aware of time, so I'm going to just ask you one last question. It's probably quite an open question. Other than coaching, like because, well, you can use that as your answer as well, but if you were to say to someone, so if someone's listening to this, they're like, oh my gosh, I now realize that I want to change, I want to learn, I want to invest in myself. What would you say is the first place or the first thing for them to look at? I mean, we both know that's coaching, getting that support. What would you say?
You have to, number one question to start with is why, what am I finding difficult? Why am I finding it difficult? Why am I find if you're struggling with something, you have to just sit with why am I finding this so difficult? And every time your mind goes to it's my boss, it's how much I earn, it's where I live, it's because my partner isn't giving me enough attention, you have to come back to yourself. And
Mm.
then you have to ask, what do I want? What do I want? You have to
Yeah,
ask, what is it that I want? You know, for me, it was in my relationship, I want more love. I want a more loving relationship. And I had to ask her, what is it that I want? What is it that I want? And it was, I need more hugs. You know, I had to sit with that for a long time. And but then you'll have heard me tell this story. The hugs had to be unasked for.
yeah,
It had to be spontaneous affection because I could go to my husband and get a hug, but I'd had to ask for it. It felt wooden, it felt fake. And I was like, oh, this feels horrible. This is fake. It doesn't mean anything because I've had to ask you for it. I
yeah.
mean, can you
So
imagine the
interesting.
dynamic? And it was that moment when it's like, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And what does that actually literally look like? Okay, it's more hugs, you know, and I could change the rule from it doesn't have to be unasked for, it doesn't have to be spontaneous. I can just go and get my hug and get my love. You know, it's little things like that. It's going to make it so much more simple.
Yeah, so good. So good. And you said right at the beginning that you started off with therapy and then you found coaching. What do you think is the power of having a coach?
It speeds it up.
Yeah,
Speeds it up. The most expensive way to learn is life experience because it takes so long.
yeah,
This is
yeah,
not a dress rehearsal. You know,
yeah,
speed it up and get these results quicker, and then you have them for the rest of your life. They're going to compound. This is like
yeah,
saving. Start when you're 16. That's, you know, that £100. We all know the story that £1,000 compounds.
yeah,
And you could save £1 million. You know, I'm getting it wrong, aren't I? You could save 100 grand when you're 50, and that 100 you saved when you're 16 is still worth more.
yeah, yeah,
Compounding.
yeah, yeah. It's so
But for
true.
now, I just say to people, what it's all about the questions you're asking yourself. You ask yourself the wrong question, you're going to stay stuck. If you're sitting there going, why does this always happen to me? Why is my partner so horrible to me? You're going to get really terrible answers to that. Change your questions. And what am I finding difficult? And what is it I need? What do I want to get out of that? That's going to
Yeah,
get you
yeah.
going.
One of my most favorite questions to ask is what would love do here? And
Oh, good.
love sometimes sounds like no. And this
Yes.
isn't just loving the other person, this is loving yourself. Love sometimes sounds like, do you know what? That isn't acceptable. This is what you this is how we're gonna, whatever. So that's always one of my favorite.
Another good one for me is do I like how I'm showing up here?
Yeah.
Do I like do I like how I am thinking and feeling right now? And if I'm spewing a lot of negativity, if my body's filled with negativity, if my brain's going, they never did this, they shouldn't have done that to me. I know. I know I'm not in the right place. Emotional pause.
Yeah, yes, yeah, so powerful. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with me, Naomi. It was so lovely to catch up for one and then to hear all about your coaching for a second. We will put all the links in the show notes, but where is the best place to connect with you if someone's listening?
But they can come to my website, naomistonier.com, book a call, book a free chat, and have a chat with me. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook. Doing free webinars all the time. I'm passionate about sharing this information. You can get helped for free with me. If you're good at implementing, you can get helped for free. I'm giving out a lot of content all the time, and
Yeah.
I just work with those 10% of people who need some help.
Yeah. Amazing. So good. Thank you. Is there anything that we haven't spoke about that you think is relevant?
I think we've covered it. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. It was amazing. And for everybody else, I will speak to you next week. Mwah. Bye.
Bye.